When sale season hits, flashy discounts make it tempting to buy a soundbar based entirely on the markdown. You buy the deal, not the audio. Most buyers fall into a specific trap. They look at the packaging, see a massive wattage number and claims of deep bass, and assume raw power equals better sound. This chart maps vocal clarity against bass intensity. Manufacturers want you to believe you can have maximum bass and clarity at the same time. That marketing hype is impossible at budget price points. The real differentiator is their audio signature. At these tiers, if you crank up the bass intensity to shake the room, your vocal clarity physically drops. If you choose the wrong signature for your living room, you guarantee yourself an aggravating experience. You will either get muffled, muddy movie dialogue or completely lifeless, flat music. To get this right, we have to decode the actual audio signatures of the major players. We are going to break down how Boat and JBL, Zebronics, and Sony tune their specific hardware so you can match the brand to your specific lifestyle. Finding a soundbar is a process of identifying your primary media diet. It is about how you actually listen, not hunting for the highest peak wattage. Let's start with the most persistent specification myth on the market: overbuying wattage for small physical spaces. Picture placing a massive 400 or 500 watt soundbar system inside a standard 150 to 200 square foot bedroom. This graph maps volume against frequency separation. To avoid deafening yourself, you cap the volume at 40%, but the hardware only achieves peak Dolby processing past 75%. Below that, the highs, mids, and lows tangle together into a muddy path. The alternative is buying a smaller 200 watt soundbar. In that exact same 200 square foot room, you can comfortably push a 200 watt system to 80% volume. Safely pushing a lower wattage system to its peak operational threshold yields vastly superior, clearer audio than severely capping an oversized 500 watt system. If you are working with an extreme budget and tight space constraints, the primary goal is simply escaping your native TV speakers. For anything under 5,000 rupees, expectations shift entirely. The Zebronics Zeep 200A sets the definitive baseline here. It is a 90-watt 2.1 system powered by a dedicated 50-watt subwoofer. In practice, it delivers surprisingly loud output. It relies on a mixture of tight and clear bass separation, which totally bypasses the need for complex Dolby features. It won't provide a true cinematic surround experience, but if you have a cramped room and tinny television audio, this is the most cost-effective, immediate remedy available. If you are the party-goer segment, your primary desire is heavy, club-level bass that shakes the room. The Boat 2.1 2000 and 5.1 3500 series are engineered specifically for this demographic. This scorecard breaks down the frequencies. Boat employs a hyper-aggressive tuning that surges the upper bass to maximize the physical shake in your room. The consequence is frequency interference. The upper bass spills over its boundaries, crushing the vocal tracts beneath it. When you sit down to watch a movie or the news, male dialogue gets deeply muffled by the bass. You will spend the entire film holding the remote, constantly riding the volume button up during conversations and down during explosions. Boat's signature provides an absolute powerhouse experience for modern party music, but watching movies on it requires sacrificing plot and dialogue comprehension. The polar opposite of the partygoer is the dialogue seeker. You despise missing plot points during loud, chaotic action scenes. The JBL SB270 and SB550 models exist for this exact demographic. They are precision instruments. Look at the JBL scorecard. Mid-clarity maxes out, upper bass is removed, and low-end bass is strictly controlled to isolate vocals. This bass is highly calculated. Using lower bass means you feel the vibration without a loud boom, never bleeding into the mid-range. The trade-off is obvious. Hosting a loud house party with dance music will feel deeply flat and underwhelming. The JBL signature purposefully sacrifices raw party thump. In exchange, it guarantees perfectly preserved dialogue and completely eliminates volume riding during cinematic sequences. Then there is the all-rounder. You want a middle path that balances cinematic scale with a decent bass presence. The Zebronics 4100 and Sony S20R bridge the gap between extreme bass and extreme clarity. Zebronics manipulates a warm audio signature. It produces highly effective virtual surround sound from a single bar without requiring complex rear wiring. The Sony S20R works differently. As this schematic shows, it utilizes a physical 5.1 wired layout. Dedicated rear speakers intersect with the front soundbar to create a true wide acoustic sweet spot in the center of your living room. But Sony comes with a mandatory caveat. To achieve this stadium stage effect without the bass muddying the dialogue, your room must be larger than 350 square feet. You also need precise physical space to mount those rear channels. These balance systems offer high versatility for mixed media, provided you have the specific room dimensions required for the physical soundstage to function as intended. Ignore the marketing wattage entirely. Purchase strictly based on your primary media diet. This decision tree maps lifestyle to hardware. Party host? Choose boat, sacrificing dialogue clarity for room-shaking thump. Movie buff? Choose JBL, sacrificing bass for Dolby vocal precision. For balanced TV, pick Zebronics on budget, or Sony S20R if having space for 5.1 stage. The best soundbar on the market is never the loudest one. It is the one mathematically tuned to speak your specific audio language.